And the UN Secretary General has said the prospect of nuclear conflict is now within the realm of possibility after that strike in western Ukraine right near the border with Poland. Let's bring in ABC News foreign correspondent Maggie Rooley in Lviv, Ukraine, as well as Inez de la Cortara in Poland, right near that Ukrainian border. Maggie, I'd like to start with you. Where does the fighting stand right now?
Yeah, Dana, you just heard in Ian's piece talking about that prospect of nuclear war. I mean, that's terrifying, to say the least. And that really is a huge concern, this constant escalation we've seen over the past 2 weeks, plus that President Putin seems to be just one-upping it each day. Bigger and bigger weapons, more indiscriminate bombing, going further and further west. These are things that concern not just, governments, but also civilians. Diane, in terms of the day-to-day fighting, the thing that is concerning for most people right now is that indiscriminate bombing. Ian showed us what's happening right now in Kyiv, all along the eastern front and down south. We're getting reports in of just towns and cities being demolished, apartment buildings, schools, residential complexes, hospitals, all being bombed and wiped out, civilians being died. We know a 15-story apartment building was hit today in Kyiv as well. This is becoming more and more normal. So day to day, civilians are becoming higher targets. Long term, that threat of what's next. If Putin's pushed into a corner, will he go bigger? That is such a fear, not only for us here in Ukraine, but really everyone around the world.
Now, Inez, what's it like there right on the other side of the border, especially given this new statement by the UN Secretary General?
Hey, Diane. Yeah, so we are at the Korshava Refugee Center, about a 5-minute drive from the actual border with Ukraine. And this is where refugees are brought to after crossing into Poland. They're brought on buses just like this one. They're coming off here. And then they're being welcomed by these tents here. So you've got food, water. Some are offered medical assistance if they need it. And then they're being, ushered into this former warehouse. Inside this warehouse, it's starting to look more and more like a refugee camp. It's rows and rows of cots, people sleeping there, some people spending the night, some people telling us they've spent several nights here. These are people who are not sure where they're going to go next. So in the early days of the crisis, we saw refugees who had a plan. They had friends or family members that they could stay with here in Poland, but more and more we're starting to come to see people coming in who don't really know where they're going to go next. Volunteers here tell us they're starting to see an influx in the number of people coming in from western Ukraine. So people who thought they could ride it out in Ukraine, they didn't think the fighting would hit western Ukraine. They were really alarmed by those strikes at that base just a few miles from the Polish border. And so they are starting to evacuate and come to refugee centers just like this one.
Now, Maggie, yesterday, a senior administration official told ABC News that Russia will increase their attacks across Ukraine and may even target Lviv, where you are. So what has it been like there in the past 24 hours?
Yeah, Daniel, Lviv has sort of become a safe haven within Ukraine. We meet people every single day from the Eastern Front, from the south, from the capital in Kyiv. They've made it here. They feel like maybe they can take a breath, take a break, and you feel it in the city. With those new reports that this fighting is moving west with that major attack on that base just 10 miles away from Poland, only about an hour here from Kyiv. People are getting nervous. They're getting skittish. And you can feel it in the air. We've been hearing more air raid sirens overnight, one not too long ago this morning. People are now concerned. And for many, they don't know where to go next. This was supposed to be their safety. Hundreds of thousands of people arrive here in Lviv every single day. Many do leave. Many stay behind because they have nowhere else to go. So if this war moves west, we're going to expect more refugees to be going over the border where Inez is there in Poland. And also, if it comes here, so many more people are living here. We're at capacity. Every hotel room is booked. It could be a lot of damage for all the civilians that are still in this city, Diane.
And Inez, the refugee count leaving Ukraine is now nearing 3 million. Many of those are going to Poland. So what are you hearing from those who've made it there?
Yes, I mean, the mass majority of those refugees coming here to Poland, what's been interesting to see is that it's really volunteers leading the effort here in terms of welcoming these refugees. It's volunteers who have set up these tents offering food. It's a lot of volunteers on the ground offering rooms inside their homes or rides to other parts of Poland, other parts of Europe. And the concern here in Poland is that that's not sustainable, that if the predictions are accurate, if 8 to 10 million refugees flee Ukraine, with the vast majority of them coming into Poland, it's not going to be enough to just have volunteers coming to these refugee centers to offer some help. And already we're seeing major cities in Poland, Krakow and Warsaw, saying they can no longer take in refugees. So real concerns of a major humanitarian crisis, that would be a real possibility here in Poland.
All right, Maggie Rooley in Lviv, Inez de la Cortara in Poland. Thank you both.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.